A game that had pretty much everything. At the Gabba, there were runs from Glenn Maxwell, runs from Chris Lynn, spin from Kuldeep Yadav, rain in Brisbane, then a fight back from India after Australia dominated the first half. In the end, it means the difference is just 4 runs. Try explaining that to someone watching a cricket scorecard for the first time. Australia made 158, India made 169, but the Aussies win by 4 runs, courtesy of an adjusted score when the rain came down just before what turned out to be the final over in Australia's innings. Well played Dinesh Karthik and Rishabh Pant along with Shikhar Dhawan, but well done Australia, against great odds going into this series, have managed to take a 1-0 lead. On ESPNcricinfo Matchday, to look back at that game, Sean Tate and Murli Karthik. Let's go to Sean first. And did the better team win, Sean, over the course of 34 entertaining overs?
Well, I suppose we did. India got themselves back into the game nicely there. And it was probably Australia's game to lose there for a while. And let's be honest, it looked like they were going to lose. So, yeah, I mean, what a great start to the summer, though. Obviously, India coming over here as favourites, and Australia showing a bit of fight there and winning the first game. I think it just sets it up for a bit of a mouth-watering summer in Australia.
Almost the kind of fight that we knew, in spite of all the problems surrounding Australian cricket, we knew we might see, and we've seen it in the first game itself.
Yeah, I think also helped to the fact that India made quite a few silly mistakes today.
Yes.
So I have to say unforced errors. When you feel like the way India did, and they've been really good off late, you can't help yourself, because 3 catches being dropped of 2 guys, and guys who've got runs. And also I feel some important batsmen chewing up deliveries in the middle doesn't help. Virat Kohli, should he have come in at 3, because that's his favourite spot, and that's where he's chased down most runs, and he makes things easy for the batsman following him if he sets it up. So were those things which India possibly have they given it to them on a platter?
Okay, let's go straight into it then. Virat Kohli comes in at 4 to our great surprise. After the first wicket falls in the 5th over, India had got 35 in 4 overs with Rohit and Shikhar, and then KL Rahul walks out, gets 13 of 12, which further slows things down, and that's probably one of the most un-Virat Kohli 8-ball innings you will ever see.
Yeah, look, he's got a template. We always notice that when he bats, he takes a few deliveries, he feels the bat on ball, he gets a feel of the pace of the surface, and then he gets going. But today it was completely different. He actually looked ungainly the way he batted. That's unlike Virat Kohli, and that was because of the pressure which was put by the fact that he came in at number 4. Raquel Rahul, to everyone's surprise, already had chewed up so many deliveries for just the number of runs, because at the other end, Shikhar Dhawan was going really well. So it's not a one-way traffic. There are 2 people who need to clap hands together, and that's where I feel it put a lot of pressure on Virat Kohli. Thanks to some really good batting from the 2 wicket keepers, India got there. Otherwise, we were not even getting close to that.
Okay, when you saw Kohli walk in at 4 and Rahul come in at 3, did it make sense to you, Sean Tate, or at that point did you feel this might make Australia's life easier, having got one of Shikhar and Rohit within the first 5 overs, and then you see KL Rahul walk in instead of Virat Kohli?
I think the plan was obviously to send KL Rahul out and basically smack boundaries straight away from ball 1, 2, 3. That was obviously the plan, but you got the best batsman in the world on your side who should be batting 3. I mean, and by the time he gets out there, there's been some balls chewed up, as Karti was saying, and it worked into the Australians' favour there. And then it put, as you said, it put a lot more pressure on Virat to score freely when it was difficult, because the guys are bowling well. Zampa bowled really well there and probably changed the game there for Australia and put it in our favour. So I agree. I think Virat should have just stayed at 3, and rather than getting too funky and changing plans, purely because it's a 17 over match, basically, is what happened.
Yeah, I mean, we're speaking of Adam Zampa, then let's take that point too. As well as he bowled for Australia, I'll come back to Sean on how good Zampa was. India wouldn't have minded leg spinner of their own.
Exactly, we've been harping on this, haven't we? See, Kunal, nothing wrong with him. He's a very good cricketer, but these are different conditions. You're talking about wrist spin has always done well in Australia, and the likes of Chahal have done well on small grounds in India against the likes of Glenn Maxwell. So you want them to be bowling on those surfaces where the extra bounce, the way they bowl, it's always going to hit the bat high on the splice. and they're slower through the air. Krunal Pandya is a different bowler. Krunal Pandya is quicker through the air. He doesn't have the kind of spin or variations which these two leggies have. And in tandem, it's different because they go through those overs in a jiffy. The batsman is not able to pick them, and the odd wicket here and there puts pressure on the batsman, and that's why it's about what did the extra batsman do today? Could they do anything? But if one bowler had gone for lesser runs, one bowler has gone for 55, had he gone for even 30, it was a different story. So I always say this, if every bowler thinks similarly, if goes for 27 to 30 runs, you're only chasing 150 at the most.
Sure.
So I think it's a I don't know why every team wants to elongate the batting at the cost of their bowling.
Especially when you have the personnel, and Chahal is part of that personnel. That's been the reason India have been successful. On Adam Zampa though, Sean kept Virat Kohli quiet for the first part of his career, which seems to be the only rumour going around that if you have to get Kohli, you get him before he gets off. I mean, you can say that about any batsman, but Kohli in particular, just Zampa to Kohli that phase and the wicket of KL Rahul that preceded it, there must be some very good bowling for a man coming back into this side.
Well, I think that's why he's picked, obviously, the leg spinner to some gun right-hand batters. And as Karti was saying, at the Gabba, I mean, Shane Warne used to talk about it all the time. I know that's Test cricket, but it's still the same pitch. At the Gabba, wrist spin always does well because of the extra bounce. So it was a really good selection by Australia, I thought that. And a bad selection by the Indians not picking Chahal. So that might have been the difference of the game. The hierarchy or the think tank on both teams. I think Australia got it right tonight, and India probably missed a trick.
You can make better bad decisions. Chahal could have gone for 60, but the thing is, you know that you have armed yourself with the best possible option, and if he doesn't have a great day, then hats off to the opposition. But giving it to them by, no disrespect to Krunal Pandya, but Chahal on this surface against this opposition, the kind of bowler he is, always a better pick.
What about how Virat used the bowlers that he had and whether that comes into play? You speak of unforced errors, Finch being dropped early, a few misfields, but just at that point when Maxwell and Chris Lynn were teeing off, could India have just been a little more innovative?
Yeah, we did. We did speak about this during the mid-show, that somebody like a Jasprit Bumrah who's got the wood on Maxwell, you need to bring him on because Maxwell plays in a certain way. He's not changed it. Have we seen any difference in the way Maxwell plays? That's the way he plays. There are areas of discomfort for him. One being leg spin, the other being the fact that anything towards his head, he's not comfortable. He could be an Australian batsman, but he's still not comfortable. Even on Indian surfaces, it's tough. And again, this is a big, huge ground. So he has to literally muscle it. Even if he connects it, he might get the odd one few. So these were small mistakes. And again, you only have 4 overs from Jasprit Bumrah, but it's just that in a truncated game like that, it were the costlier bowlers or the more expensive bowlers who ended up bowling 4 overs. Bhuvaneshwar didn't have any. Bhuvaneshwar didn't complete his quota, neither did Bumrah.
Yeah. So, well, something that Virat Kohli can think about, returning to this side, of course, after missing the T20Is against the West Indies. We're getting comments and questions on Facebook as well. Let's pick one now for Sean and Murli Karthik. And it's been a game that should have enough questions. Should Chahal replace Krunal in the next match? We're already looking ahead then.
You asking me?
Yeah,
I've been saying the same thing again and again. Someone else should be answering.
All right, I think it's also quite evident from Sean Tate that he thinks India missed a trick not playing the leg spinner. So yeah, it's a straight one that Chahal should come back in. Let's just go back to what this game does for Australia. We mentioned a few things they wanted, Sean. They wanted big players to stand up. In Maxwell's one of them, Lynn's one of them. You had Marcus Stoinis do a job for you with the ball. Adam Zampa has done well. Behrendorff went for a few but got the wicket early on. A lot of things that they would take in this first game that might actually set the trend for the rest of the summer.
I mean, I think we spoke about it in the preview to this match that, Lynn, the guys have been around for a while now, Maxwell, have to sort of put the team on their shoulders a bit and carry them through certain situations. And I suppose today they did that. Okay, they didn't get big scores, but Lynn got 37 off 20 balls. I suppose he did his job. And Maxwell played well too. So that's a good sign for Australia that these guys are stepping up and helping to carry the side. And obviously, Ty's a good bowler, but tonight wasn't his night. And I thought the ball was really slippery. You could see the bowlers were struggling to grip the ball; it was slipping out of their hands. So Stoinis to finish the innings off like that with a wet ball was pretty impressive. And he's a good cricketer, Stoinis. So I think that's good signs for Australia there too.
Well, I thought for a second Aaron Finch had miscalculated who he wanted at the death, leaving just Stoinis and Ty. Turns out it went okay. I'll be Vindran with a question on Rishabh Pant, because we all got carried away in that phase where we thought maybe Karthik and Pant would claw victory back into their hands. India 51 of 24, the partnership between them. Karthik we've seen before. Pant is still finding his feet in, at least in white ball cricket. Would you expect that shot in that situation? We know that's how he plays. Would you have liked the two to see India home?
Look, the thing is, he plays that shot, but the thing is, with the kind of field placements or field changes which happened just before that delivery, it was predictable that it was not going to be a quick one. If you play a shot like that against a quick delivery, it's easier. But I think Ty, with his change of pace, with the lack of pace from that delivery, it was always going to go square of the wicket, not fine. And that's exactly what happened. I think hindsight is always a great teacher. He might be ruining the fact that he played that shot, but he had to try something. It was as Teddy said, Marcus Stoinis, those 2 overs were very good.
Okay, I like this question from our good friend Gaurav Sundararaman, whose points I always take seriously when it comes to this format. This is the first major game in which Kohli is captaining without MS Dhoni. Who can Kohli go to for strategic or tactical help according to you, and who in the team can captain with him? Karthik?
I would say definitely Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma is a very, very good. He might not look the same, but I think the proof of the pudding is in the eating. The way he's captained India, the way he's captained Mumbai Indians. He doesn't wear too much emotion on his sleeve, but yes, he does, and he's got a very good head on his shoulders in terms of captaincy and in terms of cricket. So I think he's the only option, because Ajinkya Rahane is not there. So the next option and the wisest option is Rohit Sharma. Turn to Rohit Sharma. But where is he? Where is he on the field? Is he too deep to ask for any advice?
That's the other thing you have to look at. MS Dhoni being Virat Kohli's predecessor and keeper, and now you've got Rohit Sharma, his contemporary. So there is a different dynamic that we must look into. But let's keep an eye out. Virat Kohli making a return to the T20I side, of course. 2 more games to still salvage the series. Next one comes up quickly in just a couple of days' time. Sean Tate looking ahead to the second T20I. Australia can take a lot of positives out from the first. Did they get just about everything right? We're looking at the MCG now. Would you make any changes at all? They've only got a 13-man squad, and it was Nathan Coulter-Nile that they left out alongside Ashton Agar. Is there room for any of them as we look ahead to the game at the MCG?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to change a winning side, but sometimes you know, a couple of changes to get ahead of the game, I suppose. I think Coulter-Nile, if you can get him in the team, you know, he's quick. He's bowled really well in the IPL, for example. I know this is not India, it's Australia, but I'd like to see him in the side, maybe instead of Ty. I mean, Ty's got a great record, but you know, you could either swap him or Berendorf. I'd keep Zampa. Keep the confidence with the leg spinner. You know, if you leave Zampa out of the side now and change it, that might ruin his confidence for the rest of the series. So I'd leave him in there for sure. But I'd be trying to find a way to get Coulter-Nile into that team.
Okay, as far as India are concerned, you've said it many times during that first T20I too, but you want to find a place for Yuzvendra Chahal. As a result, have to come in place of Krunal Pandya?
It has to. Yeah. It has to.
Because would you want to keep a batsman light?
No. I'm fine. Look, the way you have to take the onus as a batsman, if you have 5 bowlers, they have to take the responsibility of finishing that quota of 20, especially in a T20. Yes, you want options, I understand that, but not at the cost of a specialist bowler who's a wicket-taking bowler who can restrict runs for you. And again, you've got people, the top 3, I think they need to come back. Virat needs to shepherd the chase. He needs to do the bulk of batting if that's the necessity, because if the 2 guys at the top have gone well, you want Virat Kohli immediately.
All right, maybe also follow our stats when we say that if they win the toss, bat first, look at venue stats. No, we're not going to do that. All right, many thanks to Murli Karthik. Cheers. Many thanks to Sean Tate. We will get their thoughts in a couple of days' time as we look ahead to that second T20. I hope to have your company for that as well. Download the ESPNcricinfo mobile app for all the latest news surrounding this series. India are likely to announce a 12-man squad before that second T20I too, so make sure you catch that, and we'll discuss everything worthy of the game on ESPNcricinfo Matchday.